the seagulls follow the trawl, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate, honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. I've never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, as Boise would say every show. Welcome to the Sunday Blether. It's just gone 4 minutes past 11, guys. We're running a wee bit late. It's Sunday the 15th of January, and we've just put Celtic straight into another final. Guys, it's the Sunday Blether, and as usual, I'm joined by the face that really runs the place, Regan Stevenson. How are you doing, my man?
David, it's great to be here.
It's good to have you back, mate.
Celtic straight into another final. Daizen Maeda get another goal.
Another one.
Another one, yep. And also we had some VAR controversy again. So I think it's just a normal Sunday, David.
Oh, that's it, my man. And of course, he's right back from his warm weather training. We've got Marky, the judge, Kearney. He's back in the house. Oh, man, the place is going to be rocking. The judge is back. How are you doing, mate? How was that warm weather training camp?
I'm doing very well, mate. I'm a bit sunburnt, to be quite honest with you. A bit hungover. Fucking fed up with drink and fat food and all the rest of it. Bring on the vodka and pizza. No, I must admit, I missed being... I was all away for a week, but I missed basically two matches because of the time slots and what that I went. I seen like the second half of the Kilmarnock game just about, and I missed all last night's match. So I feel like you've missed Christmas Day or something when you don't really. Because the time my plane arrived, I've been trying to find a signal since fucking the Irish Sea. You know what I mean? I couldn't find one, but eventually my phone just went. And I just seen somebody saying, "That'll do," and I went right. My heart just went back to its normal size. I got home with it and fucking found it 1-2-0 eventually. So that's what matters, and it's always a bit more tasty for me when there's a meltdown by the zombies on the other side, because we've run into some stinking decisions this year, man, and there'll be 500 more, trust me, but see that one day we get just a wee bit of fucking good luck and a wee bit of normality, just an even keel for everybody else. They can't stand it. They hate us, so that's good. Long may it continue. I'm hoping the day that they come a cropper with an absolute howler decision, that would make my week, man. I'd rather that than them getting beat 5-0.
Well, Phil, I hope you've been learning your lines today, son, because we've got plenty to talk about.
Yeah, we do. I've been deep in rehearsal, mate.
Good,
but
mate,
yeah,
good.
it's I'm excited to be on here for another Sunday Blether, the best way to start your Sunday. And yeah, we've got a lot to go over, but ultimately, as you said at the top of the show, the bottom line is Celtic are in another final. You know, the League Cup final seems to be a happy place for us in the last decade. When growing up, the League Cup was always a bit of a bogey trophy for us. I remember it being many years frustrating results, but we seem to be quite regulars now in the final, and regulars lifting it. And hopefully on February 26th, that will be the case.
Right, well, before we get really deep into that, lads, let's get all the good stuff out of the way. So, if you like what we do, just like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Listen, become a Boise Bus member. It's all absolutely optional. There's no added extra content. Everybody gets the same content on the bus, but if you like to become a Boise Bus member, it's nice to just hit that wee button down there. It's like we said, Phil McGinley, you're a Boise Bus member, aren't you? And obviously we've got like Paul Dyatt and a few others. I've not got the list of names to rattle these all off, but
to the wall. I'm going with the list out. James Grimes, David Ferguson, Jim Dolan. There you go. There's a few shout outs for
absolute legends, every single one of them. But it's absolutely optional. There's no, don't feel there's any need to do it, but it's always appreciated, and we appreciate everybody that joins us every Sunday and every other day on the bus. Well, paper talk, guys, is pretty much. The headlines are pretty much the game yesterday, so I'm not gonna dive too much into the paper today. We're just gonna talk about the game now. And Mark, you managed to get your recap when you got off the plane last night. How you just had you touched on it there, a bit of relief. Regan, you were at the game, weren't you, mate?
I was, yep. Well,
how was it? How did you feel? How was the experience at the National Stadium? That has the best pitch in the country, apparently, according to others. But we'll get on to that.
Well, David, from where I was sitting in the stand, there was a big pole in front of me, so it was very hard to see the first half. But the second half, Celtic were shooting down where I was sitting, so it was much easier. And thank God, in that second half, we got that second goal. Well, saying that, David, I thought we got the second goal about 3 times. And then VR intervened. So, yeah, it was. I thought Celtic played well. I thought Moy played really well. Second half as well. I think Real was really good again. And yeah, I thought Joe Hart made a few good saves as well for a change.
Yeah.
Well, the man by man in today's paper has Joe Hart and Daizen Maeda as the 2 top rated players with rated at 8. Daizen Maeda, a huge stroke of luck at the opener as Lafferty attempted clearance, rebounded off his shoulder and into the net. A bit of luck, maybe a bit of luck, but I feel that Daizen's been creating his own luck lately. Phil, what's your take on the game overall yesterday? And obviously there was a lengthy post-match push on last night. Terry and Boise got stuck into. But let's get a quick recap from yourself, from your point of view of the game.
It was job done. That's all it was. At the end of the day, there's no importance about how many goals we score. It's a fight. It's a cup game. They'll fight, just win and get through. I felt we were in control for most of the game. That boy Armstrong seemed to be Kelly's best outlet, and at times I think Bern the Bye was struggling against him. There was definitely, especially early in the game, but he was their best only outlet. And he had the best chance to cross to the back post. And originally, from the TV angle I was watching it on, it looked like it had gone in, but no, it hit the side netting. But ultimately, it was one of those, similar to last week, where, 2-0, it could have been more due to some decisions that didn't seem to go our way. I didn't feel we were in too much danger. And even if Kelly had got an equaliser at some point during the game, I still think we had gears to go up and would have ended up winning the game anyway. So, yeah, job done, into the final we go. So, pretty smooth sailing in the end for me.
Must admit, I was watching the game yesterday, but it wasn't in the best environments to watch it. It was a friend of mine's birthday, and a lot of the people there weren't too interested in the game being on. I kind of had it forced upon them. It's difficult to really concentrate on it too much. Mark, I don't know how it translated for you in the 6-minute highlights that you managed to catch, but did it come across to you? I felt There was no point, even with the goals that were getting chopped off, at no point did I feel like Kilmarnock were going to get back into this game. I felt we were pretty comfortable. I remember saying to somebody that was kind of watching the game along with me, and I was like, I can't see, like, I've seen these goals getting chopped off. At no point I'm not worried yet. I'm still not worried. I don't see Kilmarnock getting back into this. There was a penalty shout, Mark, that is being talked about in Twitter this morning. You could say it's gone down to all the pressure that we've been putting on the referees, that the decisions have now gone in our favour. We can dive into that soon enough. But did you feel, for the 6 minutes that you managed to catch the highlights, did it translate that at no point did Kelly really look like they were going to lay a glove on us properly?
It only takes 1 second to score a goal or lose a goal. I never get in the mindset where you're comfortable until the game's finished. I mean, I've been at plenty of games in Celtic. I've been 1-1 now and coasting to victory, and I was in the box in the 89th minute, and the team's equalised and we've lost 2 points. I've also seen us being up 2-0 and lose the match. I've seen that about 4 or 5 times in my lifetime with Celtic. So, I've never been one for just thinking the game's going to be coasting unless it's like 3-4-0. You can never write the other team off, as even if in Scotland they're pretty poor. I mean, that was apparently, I seen it. We don't. I call it conspiracy theories. I don't call it a conspiracy theory. I call it the horrific decisions that go against Celtic. I don't care about what the actual thinking behind it is. There's a bias against Celtic, I think, right? But that was a penalty kick to Kilmarnock.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
But that highlights as well some of the issues that Celtic are complaining about. Celtic are not got to Hampden with a begging bowl asking for penalties. They're going saying, look, the referee standards are absolutely shocking. VAR's not being used correctly, and that highlights it. I mean, there was one of the ones that Celtic get chopped off, the handball. I mean, Celtic scored a goal and it was chopped off for offside when the guy done a Connor Golson and kind of done an underarm roll and rolled the ball. He rolled it right to Celtic players' feet. And so if you're saying it was indirectly passed to a Celtic player by a Kilmarnock player and the player was offside, I understand that. But when you take into account that the action before that was a handball, then you go to look at the first action, and the first action was a handball, which means the decision there is a penalty. Is a penalty to Celtic.
The thing is, Mark,
referees have got the option to play the game on, play an advantage, but it's a penalty kick to Celtic before you even get to that Kilmarnock penalty.
What you're saying is absolutely right, Mark. But the thing is, it's supposed to highlight everything that Celtic have been complaining and trying to point out. However, all it does is make the other managers and the other opposition fans say, see, this is what happens when Celtic complain. And say, no, we're pointing out to you the issues with the refereeing in the game. I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty. I felt probably would have been a penalty. It should have been a penalty to Kilmarnock as well. However, what's been highlighted is, this is what happens when you complain with refs. You just get decisions your way.
They're always going to do that, David.
But what I'm trying to say is, so we're trying to. This is what we're trying to show you. It's got nothing to do with what we're trying to say. Is that we're being cheated all the time, but there's a perfect example, and all you are doing is talking about our decisions. This is a decision. Look at the St Mirren game the other day. But that's Celtic's fault. What? No.
Well, listen, I mean, it was always going to be the case that eventually you're going to come to a stage where Celtic were going to get a decision. Through that being just horrific refereeing, or through referees just saying, it's 4-0 Celtic, I'll give them a penalty. I've always said since day one, it'll be levelled up, it'll be padded out by Celtic getting penalties 4 or 5 a season. They'll come towards the end of the season when we're 3 or 4-0 up already. And you look at the stats and somebody will say, you get 5 penalties, we only get 7. What's the big deal here? But the reality is the 7 they'll get will be when it's 0-0. You know what I mean? Or 1-0 down. I mean, we've seen it before. Anytime you phone up a radio show, or anytime you mention it to anybody who's pretending that things are not biased to keep them selling a job, they just shrug it off and call you a conspiracy theorist. Now, Peter Martin on PLZ, or whatever you call it, I don't watch that shite, to be quite honest with you. I want to watch it if you actually paid me to watch it. That is how much I think stuff like that is shite. Utter shite, right? At least he hit the boss to come out and say, and he didn't say this in a conspiracy theorist way, far from it. Somebody asked to that guy, and I'm pretty sure he's got a sash on. But he says, look, Celtic have had twice now been proven that the SFA have conspired against them. or at least people within the SFA. That's been proven. I mean, that's in the history books. It's no doctored history or me making things up. I mean, they sacked the guy, the head of the SFA, for holding back a contract for George Cadet for 3 weeks. He was found guilty of doing that on purpose. Lost his job. And our directors and our CEOs were called tyrants and dictators and evil. I mean, that was the back page of the papers. Saddam Hussein and Fergus McCann. One of these is an evil dictator. The other one is Saddam Hussein. That was the headlines, right? Fast forward 15 years or so, you'll get 2 referees. One caught on microphone and camera, telling the other man to lie and say, just pretend that was offside. I don't argue Celtic this penalty. He was caught. Nothing happened about that. In fact, when the referees went on strike, it was blamed on Celtic. And then there's one thing folk forget about. In 1999, when Rangers won the league at Celtic Park, when Hugh Dallas got up with a coin, Fergus McCann hired a psychologist and a body analyst, a body language expert analyst to analyse Hugh Dallas's performance that day.
Yeah.
And he stated categorically that the man was making decisions based on the coin being through at him. He said the guy actually said no matter what happened after that corner kick, that was a penalty. And anybody that was at that game or watched that game, like me, would tell you the only thing that was going to happen that day was Celtic were losing. You get a player sent off for telling somebody for a red card decision, and our players saying to the referee, "Look, that's a card." I've seen players since and before doing that to referees. We get a player get a straight red card for doing that to a player, doing that to a referee. And at the time, it was deemed as, you can't referee the match. That's up to the referee. You can't be telling the referee how to do it. It's proven since day one, David. Every time they get a decision, the first thing the people in your media has got to do is slowly but surely put out a narrative that how can we win all these trophies if we're playing against 13 men? No, Celtic win trophies regardless we're playing 13 men or 12 men. You just have to be that much better, that much cuter, that much more clever. See if that means holding off your run and the extra half a second and giving the referee no chance to pull you offside. Then so be it. Celtic are, I mean, I know some of you guys on the show, especially like Regan, no remember the 90s, but I remember the 90s very well, man. Celtic were a poor team back then.
Yeah. But
see some of the decisions that went against us, by the way, beggars belief. Unbelievable. I was at a match where the referee chopped off 4 Celtic goals in about 5 minutes against Kilmarnock.
My God.
Four, so Celtic were 2-0 up, and they went 2 each. And the guy chopped off 4 goals. Anyway, and if memory serves me correct, I think only one of them was offside. And we eventually scored. And actually, that goal, the goal we scored was actually killed off Io Bekovic because he started putting his fist up to the Celtic fans. I think he was putting his fist up to the linesman, the referee, but the Celtic fans behind the goal where I was sitting didn't like it at all. It was as if he was telling the Celtic fans because he was going through a hard time. The Celtic fans at that point, it was as if he was telling the Celtic fans, "Get up, you." But it's been going for ages, mate, and no matter how many things that go against Celtic, it only takes the cloak to be right twice a day for them to think that the cloak's working perfectly.
This is what Regan. This is what McInnes had to say on that particular incident. He said McInnes feels that his team deserved a spot kick for Giakoumakis' clumsy chance. Joe has been manhandled, and there's no way Giakoumakis can get to the ball. He just gets a bit excitable. He's clumsy. It's a striker's challenge. He's come through him, 2 arms around him. It's a penalty kick. I don't understand why it isn't. The referee's got a brilliant view, but I haven't spoken to Willie. What's the point? VAR should be speaking to the referee. What's your thought on that? Now, I'm asking Regan this. However, guys in the chat, I want your point of view. And I know some people have already said that they don't think it was a penalty. And there's some people that are saying that they would have liked to have seen a penalty if it was on the other side, if it was, say, it was Kyogo or Giakoumakis on the other end. Something that we did see happen for Giakoumakis against Rangers. I think it was last season. So I'd like to see what your guys' actual thoughts are. Would you have liked to have seen it being given if it was up at the other end? But Regan, what's your thoughts on Derek's manhandling comments there? Would you call that manhandling?
I don't think he's manhandling. I think David McInnes is just trying to get a headline and try to see like, oh, well, I need to go for broke here and pretend that my team get robbed of a place in the final. But Celtic were in complete control of that game, David. So if Derek McKinnon is going to blame, oh, it was because of that penalty, then he can. I think he's lying to himself that Celtic were the better team, because Celtic were the better team, David. And I do think it was a penalty, though. I do think that if a Callum McGregor went down, I'd be screaming for a penalty. But at the same time, like we've seen with Timecast on Friday night, I mean, I don't know how that wasn't given as a penalty. But then I didn't actually see the game, but Michael Stewart on BBC Scotland was sure that it definitely wasn't a penalty. So I don't know. I don't know what he's watching. Maybe he's got his Timecast with tinted glasses on or something. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I just think there's far too many inconsistencies with VAR, and I don't really know why it's there anymore, because it's not being used properly.
I know this has got nothing to do with the game, Phil, but we were talking about it earlier before we came on. There was a really big incident in the Manchester derby yesterday. Where VAR didn't step in, where Rashford was deemed to be interfering with play as Bruno Fernandes put the ball in the back of the net to end up winning the game for Manchester United. Now, is that a case of VAR isn't working, or is that still to do with the referees using the technology? Because if they're still in that league, with the amount of cameras that they have, they can't come to a decision that Rashford is interfering with play there and the goal was given. I've got absolute zero hope for our refs. Zero.
Yeah, I'm very much at my wit's end now when it comes to the rules of this sport, because, you know, it's the same sport we're playing all around the world in different countries. How come in Scotland, a country that borders us, England, things seem to be very different when it comes to handball rules and offside rules? Because to me, there should be universal rules for the whole world. And we saw yesterday, I was all over Twitter, a lot of English football accounts using the IFAB rules we've been subjected to in recent weeks. And a lot of the general consensus is VAR and the referees are completely wrong. I watched the game, the Manchester derby. I saw the decision. You see the view from behind the goal. Rashford, even though he doesn't touch the ball, he shapes his body like he's going to shoot, which causes Ederson to move in that direction, which puts him off balance. And then Fernandes comes in and scores the goal, bending it round him. So to tell me that is not interfering with play is absolutely ludicrous. And we look at what happened last week, I think, in an FA Cup game where a Wolves player headed the ball into the path of Mo Salah and he was allowed to go through and score. But then you look up here, what happened last night, a shot from one of our players deflected off of Ash Taylor. It also hit Ash Taylor in the arm. That's another thing. Goes right into the path of Hatate, who scores, and it's deemed that was offside. But a week ago in England, a similar situation, a ball deflects off a defender to an offside player, and that was onside. And you look at the Livingston one a few weeks ago with Leela Bader, where a Livingston player deflected the ball into his path, and that was offside. I don't understand when it comes to these handball and offside rules between one country to another. Why is it so drastically different? It's the same game we're all playing. So I don't know who's right and who's wrong. Are England getting it right? Or is Scotland wrong? Or are Scotland right on the rules and England are wrong? I don't know anymore. It feels like everyone's just making it up as they go along now. It's becoming very, very frustrating. And yeah, last night, the Hatate one in particular, I say after you've watched what's just happened in other countries recently, you're like, well, how come Hatate's offside? And we've seen precedent recently where you can be onside in those scenarios. IFAB as well keeps getting quoted, so I don't know. It's just frustrating now, David.
I've seen a comment there for David Ferguson going on about the three players that manhandled Cameron Carter-Vickers. David, no such thing will ever happen. That man will never be manhandled by anybody. Never mind three players. That man is he's never getting manhandled by anybody. That boy, man. That boy does the manhandling. The absolute unit. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll talk about like I said, the paper's literally just all to do with the game, to be honest. So I'm going to just pop the paper away now. But we're still going to keep on topic with the game because there's still plenty to talk about. I don't mean for this to land on you, Mark, but it always seems to do. But let's talk about Danger Maeda, dynamic Daizen, as I want to call him, because I feel after he has come back from the World Cup, we have got a completely different Daizen Maeda that we were discussing a few months ago. The boy is an absolute fire. You could maybe argue he's the most informed player at the club at the moment. He's got 3 goals now in his last 4 games. Should have had another one. I'd still that offside rule baffles me. 7 goals in all competitions. I think 8 if you include his World Cup goal, for 5 assists. Is this the Maeda that Ange had promised to be bringing over from Japan? Because right now there was talk about the pitch being, obviously we'll get on to talking about the standard of the pitch, but it was a very hard pitch to play on. But Maeda just, nothing was slowing him down yesterday, and he's playing with so much confidence right now. The way he's putting the ball away into the back of the net. Yes, it was ruled offside. But the way he's opening up his body again and that finish, like the boy's absolutely flying. What's your thoughts? Is Maeda? Is this the real Maeda we should have been getting all along?
Right, the World Cup's done the guy a lot of good. Maybe a bit like Hatate, he was maybe working too much last season. This season he's maybe come into his own bit. I think his best form has coincided with the World Cup starting and finishing, and him coming back a different look at a player. I mean, even when I was judging how he was performing, that's my right. I'm not going to do that. I never judged his work ethic, you know what I mean? And I think when you get his work ethic, and this is the thing that confused me. If you look at his work ethic, and my point was, if you've got an end product and that work ethic, you're no fucking got to Celtic, man. You're got to somebody massive, you know what I mean? I do think he's getting looked at. I think he's probably hitting his peak just now a wee bit of Celtic. I think he might dip again, which is fine. All players got up and down, you know what I mean? I think Giorgos a prime example of that. But his performances have been brilliant. He's been actually been involved in the play quite a lot. I thought like before, when he was working hard, I thought he was there to harass defenders, and he was there to maybe be that kind of nuisance to feed the players who are better on the ball. But he's looking like he can do both now. He can harass, but when he gets the ball, he's capable of making that good pass. When the goal he scored yesterday was brilliant. I didn't think the goal he got chopped off. I didn't think he had that in his locker. Some of the goals we were seeing for his stint in Japan, I just didn't see that player at Celtic. I thought he runs through one-on-one the keeper. He's missing. But you look at his goal at Ibrox. I mean, to win the ball twice, which what he did is doing to his tenacity, but the composure to put it under McGregor's arm, it's brilliant. What a goal that was! That was a great goal, and it's a pity we didn't win that match because
for him.
I think if we won that match, that goal would have been a right favourite for the fans. You know what I mean? A goal at Ibrox like that, but we'll not see much yet again because when you draw them, you tend to forget about them. But no, I think he's been playing great the last month or so, David. I hope he scores 50 goals or something like me. I hope every time a Celtic player crosses the halfway line, he hits a 50-yard goal, and I can't be arsed on up cheering anymore. But it's not the case that I want him to no perform. I just didn't see this level coming. I don't think he'll hit 20 goals. I think he'll revert back to a level where kind of his standards are good enough to merit game time. I do think that'll happen. One thing that's worrying me, and it's not really a worry because he's still scoring goals, but I watched the highlights last night and there was one clip, this morning, there's one clip and you had the commentator saying, I think that's Kyogo's first touch or something, a second touch, and I was like, is it for the second half of the match I'm watching here? And it was the second half, and I thought, it was a goal that we got chopped off. And I said a couple weeks ago on the show, I mean, there was one game, and I'm almost certain that he either gets subbed off, or in the stats where he only kicked the ball the full match, except during a play that was offside.
Yep.
And there's been games where he's touched the ball twice and 3 times. Does it bother me? See, we touched the ball 3 times and scores a hat trick. I couldn't give a flying fuck. But see, when you're not involved in the match and the ball's on the front of you, I want to see a bit more involvement on the ball. I want to see it does all the running, it does all the harassing. But if you're not linking the play up well, we need that type of player, which is a Giakoumakis, which we might talk about. But when you're scoring goals on the park, like Maeda's getting goals, Hatate's getting goals. We've seen Cam McGregor score a one in at Bustalgia. That's all right. That's fine. That's fine. It's as long as you're putting the ball in the back in there every week every second week or whatever, I'm fine with that, Kyogo. But see, when you're not involved as much and the ball's not landing at your feet and you're contributing nothing, it kind of makes me kind of wonder where we are striker-wise, because it goes back to your original question. It would worry me if your decision was, let's play 3 months with Maeda up front for Celtic, because my fear is what we're seeing just now is a purple patch. It's a very good purple patch, but it'll even itself out a wee bit. I mean, I hope it doesn't. I hope he just scores 60 goals. I hope he runs riot in Scotland. I hope it's a new Henry Larsson, but it's not going to happen. But
it'd be interesting though, wouldn't it? Would not be really. It would be. I know it's not something I'd be willing to risk, to be honest, but it would be interesting just to see him in this current vein of form, him starting in a more central position when he's the
I think
the quality of the finishes that he's had lately,
the thing is, though,
the fear he's putting into the defenders of him running behind, it just would be interesting.
Would that matter though? See, David. I think a lot of his game is shutting down defenders and shutting down, and normally shutting them down in wide positions. Now, if you put him in the middle of the park, defenders get 2 clear passes. You know what I mean? There's less time for the guy to panic. You know what I mean? A defender can hit the ball back to the keeper if he's running centrally, or he can play it wide. He can put the ball in the park. You know what I mean? There's more options, and there's less options for him to harass. Mm-hmm. I think you may play Maeda through the middle. I think you're almost giving up him and what he's good at. I don't think he's a goal scorer as such. I know he scored some goals in it, and great. I hope he scores every week. I said that, but I think that level of his game is something new we're seeing just now. And I think if we put him through the middle, it saves Abada. I think Abada scores more goals through the middle than when he plays in any of the strikers do. He scores almost every time he gets a chance. But it's a tough one, because Ange said after the match that he's hoping to get another player in. I think that's a striker. I think he's just teeing up. I think that was Giakoumakis' last involvement in the Celtic jersey last night. Well, I think it might well be, unless he plays Wednesday. Maybe he's teeing up a new striker coming in, but hopefully it's a new striker that fits the mould, and I'm 100% sure that if Ange's buying him, that he will fit the mould.
Yeah. So we'll get on to Giakoumakis, but I've seen a lot of comments coming about Moy's performance yesterday, Regan. So let's have a wee chat about our Australian midfield maestro, because he was very good. He was very good yesterday. I felt
it was very good,
very influential in the game. They gave him a rating of 7 in this the paper that I just said I'd threw away, but it's still there, you know. You'll just go refer back to the old paper on Paper Talk, you know. But no, he was very that delivery in the ball that caused a lot of a lot of chaos, you might want to say, in the box, where you know, the jumping Jack himself got himself involved in that game, and that piece of play. That was a great delivery. That's what a lot of people were saying to me, like his dead ball is excellent. You know, he's gonna, once he gets up to scratch, you'll really start to see what he brings, and that was certainly one of the key attributes that he brings to the game. But I also felt like in a game like that, he does bring. I understand what Russell and Terry were saying on, I think it was last week's marathon post-match pish, was he does slow the game down a bit if you're starting him. However, I do feel with the set of circumstances we had yesterday, I think it was the right decision to play him. I thought he calmed things down when needed, and he was just very influential with his passing. Regan, did you enjoy what you saw from Aaron Moy, and are you hoping that we'll see him in the starting 11 going forward, or are you still on the train that we keep, or the bus that it's
still on the bus side.
That O'Reilly
the Moisey bus.
The Moisey bus. What's your thoughts on Aaron Moy?
I think over the last few weeks he's become a better player, but what I will say on him, I still think he is very, very slow. I do think he delivers very good balls. I also do think he's a kind of Scott Brown type midfielder, where he can get stuck in a little bit as well, which is good. But I don't know if long term he is what Ange wants. But I think for short term for this season and probably for next season,
is he playing for another contract, Regan? Is he playing for another contract, do you reckon? Is this a case of I'm liking it here, I hope I get another contract because I think it's just a 1-year deal he's got.
I think it's 2, David. But I think
Was it 2?
Yeah, I think it is. I think Mark said that a few weeks ago, did you, Mark?
I said it was 1, and one of the commenters said it was 2. They checked it. I was 100% sure he signed a 12-month deal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's.
Phil can check it. Phil's the producer.
I'll verify that one on VAR.
But take that to VAR, mate. And this is
right though. Here's a comment though that kind of released this from Lanky67. Get you guys' thoughts on this. Why do I think O'Reilly is getting replaced in the midfield? Moy and Iwata will be in front of him, in my opinion. Where is O'Reilly right now in the pecking order?
He's quite rightly put on the sidelines, mate. And sometimes you need to start jumping on the sidelines, hoping somebody catches your attention. O'Reilly, I've said it before. I said his performances were pathetic. I stand by that. I thought his performances for the World Cup to when he eventually got dropped were diabolical for somebody in a Celtic jersey. Really, really bad. It was one game I was at and I says if he goes out in the second half, I'd be well getting a jersey. That's how bad he was. And so I think he's been dropped. I think Moy's performing. Moy's went up the way. He's went down the way. So he'll get form again. He's a young boy. And the form
it's called competition, isn't it, Mark? It's called competition. You know, like if one boy is not performing, the other boy has, he gets the chance to take his jersey, and then O'Reilly now has to try and get it back. And I'm fairly confident he will. I mean, we have to remember he is 21 years old, a young boy. We've got up against an Aaron Moy with a lot of experience.
Doesn't matter, David. Listen, see if with a Celtic, mate, we were formed as a charity. It's not a charity, mate. We don't say, do you know what, we'll give David Logue a game for Celtic. Oh, he's only 29. He's working hard this week. No. If you get a Celtic badge
29, mate, I'll take 29.
No, I'm saying, but if you get a Celtic badge on your shirt, right, you need to earn that. Doesn't matter if you're 29, 39 or 19, right?
No,
so we can't turn around every time a player's playing bad and say, oh, but he's only 19. No. Only being 19 is the excuse when you're not getting game time. That's the excuse we give the manager, is saying, like, no, the manager's fitting them into, what, I'd put them in there too much. 19, 20, 21, 22. If you're good enough to play for Celtic, I don't say after he's put a bad performance, oh, that's all right, he's only 20. No. If you're up for a header, I want you to win it. If you get an open goal, I want you to score it. I know that sounds brutal, mate. I know that sounds brutal.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Thousands of pounds a week play for Celtic. I don't care if you're 20, 21. In fact, see, 21 means you've probably been in the first team for about 4 years. You're probably in the first team training about 17, 18. Been going to training camps for about 3 or 4 years. You should know the standards. I'm not talking about O'Reilly here. O'Reilly's been really good for Celtic. Thank God we got him rather than that McCree guy, because he sounds looks like a lot of shite. But no, I think we need to get away from this. Just saying, no, he's the fact of the matter is he's out of form and he's been dropped because he's form. And it's all right for the manager to maybe say in public, oh, he's 21. See, if he was 31, I don't think he would even consider that. It would just be like, you're not playing well enough. You're coming out the first team. You're coming out the start 11 just now till whatever it is, isn't working just now. My priority is the team winning on the park, and I think we've got a better chance with you on the sidelines. Maybe he's been turned with the contract talks and teams that been interested in him. That's fine. That's life. But I don't think him being out of the team makes us a worse team. I think Aaron Moy, I can't believe I said this, he is absolutely better than new in the team with Hatate and McGregor. Because Matt O'Reilly, I mean, if he was on loan, bearing in mind he was out of position, to be fair to him, he was in a position covering Carl McGregor. But see if he was on loan this season for the first day of the season till the 31st of January, we wouldn't sign the guy. We'd say, look, you've got a career in football, but not Celtic. And that's a fact of the matter, mate. I mean, forget last season. I'm just saying some of his performances when he's had his own jersey back have been right up there with some of the worst I've seen in Select Taps.
Mark, the only thing I would say though is that Matt O'Reilly played about, I think it was 12 games when Callum McGregor was injured, and he played really well.
That's what I said.
Is that his new position then? Do you feel like maybe that's his new position, and now he's struggling to get back in the team because now Angie, I actually think you're better in that holding midfield role, that deep line playmaker role, but unfortunately our captain plays there. And maybe Angie's taking that on board now. It's like,
but I don't think he was playing. If he was playing to his standards as the number 10 as such. And you were saying, look, and you were going, I think he's actually better as a 6. That's a debate, but when he went back to his position, that Tom Roderick role, it was pathetic. I'm saying it's not like he was playing well in both positions. I think last season he was a big part of us winning that league. I thought he just came in, he just steamrolled that team, man. He was just like, and then the start of the season, I still think he's the only player to no score a goal and have so many shots or something. I think he's getting the most shots in the full league. A bit like Ryan Christie sort of thing, but with foot being obvious. I mean, there was one at Ibrox, and we were like, the ball went to him, and I'm sure there was a run through. Was it Forrest who made a run in behind the defence, and I just knew he's gonna fuck us up, and he did. He just put the ball right for a shy, and you just sometimes when you get a vibe off a player, you just know that they're in that place, they're in that headspace that it's going to take something really off form for them to do something right. You know what I'm talking about? It's like I just think now, if I see a team sheet now and I see his name on it, I go, right, okay, Valley wasn't there, but let's see how this goes. Valley's last season, I've been going, right, get his name on that team sheet.
Another player that came back into the team yesterday, Phil, was our Croatian right back. Our Croatian international, World Cup semi-final.
Did he play semi-final with the World Cup by any chance?
He's got more nicknames than that Daenerys Game of Thrones, man. Anyway, this is a direct quote from Juranovic's Instagram. He put up a post yesterday. If you are determined and confident in yourself, there is nothing in this big world that can stop you from achieving what you want. What is it that Juranovic wants? Does he want to stay at Celtic, or is he looking to go and play for Monza?
I thought it's a move, David.
So this is what I've got here, right? So JJ was back in. Was this a show of faith on the manager, or is this a shop window performance for a potential suitor? Because that's what I got. That's what the first thing. Now, I know Terry said in the pod last night, which I wasn't aware until obviously after the game, that apparently Arthur Johnson was dropped due to he pulled up in the warm up or something, or he was in training and he wasn't quite there. So JJ was a more than capable understudy. Unless you're Connor Carr, who believed we were a man down before the game, a ball was kicked, which I thought was a ridiculous statement, Connor. I have to say, this was Derek.
Would he say sorry?
This was Derek. He said that we were a man down before we kicked a ball when he saw Juranovic's name was.
Who's that?
Connor Carr. You're having a meltdown again, but like.
Well, to be honest with you, mate, sorry, he's a lot of times he's a man fucking dude. So Connor's spot on. The rest of the
I disagree. This is Derek. This is Kilmarnock we're playing yesterday. Come on. Anyway, I thought he had an alright game, to be fair. But was it a case of now? I mean, Boyce might have touched on it yesterday. Was this a case of Ange saying, "Look, is is Monza really where you want to go? Go and show them why." You know, show that you still got something to prove here at Celtic Football Club, or was it a case of, listen, we're not wanting to sell you to Monza for $7 million. Go and fucking get us a good performance if we can get that 12 for Southampton or Southampton. No, was it a shop window performance, or was it a case of I'm still here and I'm still ready to fight for my place? What is it that you want, Juranovic?
Shop window performance, based on that social media post that you read out. I think what Terry and Russell were talking about is, I think there's a crumb of truth in there when you look at it, where he thinks that he can get better, and the only options are you stay Celtic, you fight for your place, or Monza is the only option on the table. A team that are wallowing down the bottom end of Serie A, and a city that's only famous for having a Formula One track. That's pretty much what Monza is all about. Lifestyle will be better out there, but ultimately, are they a team that's going to get into Europe? Probably not. I know Silvio Berlusconi's backing them these days, but realistically, are they going to break into that anytime soon? Probably not. So it's not a huge move for him to go there, other than you'll probably get more money out of it in a bit more sunnier weather. So I think with that post, where you read that out, when he's talking about how he believes in himself and stuff, that's him basically saying that he knows he can probably get better on the table. And that performance yesterday, it was a solid enough performance. You've got to take into consideration as well, a lot of people were obviously, a very own corner, talking about a man down. Remember at Ibrox, though, he was playing at left back, which he seems to be completely uncomfortable with, which surprised me a little bit because I know he's played left back for us before and he seemed all right
See
there.
Mark tearing up suddenly. Look at
Well,
his face.
At Ibrox, it looked like he hadn't even played football in his life. Like he came from another planet and didn't know what he was doing. It was so odd.
But he's played that. See the exact
He
same
had that
things
bronze
he did.
medal in his back pocket when I'm doing. He couldn't keep up with that big heavy medal in his back pocket.
Oh, I know that's man. Nothing, man. Do you know what? But see the thing is, but see the exact same things that we've seen being lost in position. He does that in the right. See the last things we've seen being bars after the ball. He does that in the right. This wasn't his performance against Rangers wasn't a unique performance. Let's get this thing right. He does that quite regularly. But see in Scotland, see Dundee United, they don't expose you. Rangers have got a better calibre of player than Dundee United, Hearts, Aberdeen. Like it or lump it. This is last season's European UEFA Cups finalists. You know what I mean? They're no diddies. Celtic are just above them because of the hard work we've put in. You know what I mean? And they will expose you, especially with a manager who's, I said before, I don't want to belabor this point. If you play Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, Rangers, Leipzig, every single one of them just happen to target one area.
Right back.
You don't think that maybe these expert managers, Real Madrid, and all these guys who are tactically aware, maybe they know a bit more than fucking Jimmy the Crank on Twitter who thinks that he's the best right back in the world. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Just listen, see you watch Celtic. This is what I do. See, I've watched Celtic, right? I'm really invested in the game. I just want Celtic to score all the time. That's probably why I moan a lot, because I want Celtic to win. But one thing I don't do is delude myself to think that Jota is the best winger in the world and Kyogo can go to Real Madrid. I mean, I've seen guys the other day there even quote tweeting saying that, Juranovic has got to Man U because of some paper report. There's no Man U are red rotten, right? Red rotten. I love even to mention their name. I call it despise, but to suggest if they're looking at guys like that, they're a lot worse than I thought they were. And I don't even know if they're playing the Premier League anymore. That's how much I don't care about the English Premier League. But do you know what?
I had a comment there that said, and I said it last night as well. I'm not keep going back to last night's, but it's fresh in memory because I was listening to it this morning. But he thinks reality is maybe a bit Juranovic hard, and it's the way I'm looking at it, right, is for all you young batches out there that use the old online dating, right? Like say you've got your online dating things, right, and you're looking at a girl's profile, but every picture there's always her and another girl, and you can't right which one is it? Is it the pal or is it which one am I talking to? Is it you on the left or is it you that fugly looking one on the right? And it's like, well, I thought I was speaking to Atletico Madrid and Chelsea, but turns out I'm speaking to Monza and fucking, you know, you turn up that blind date and I go, oh shit, it was the pal, you know. He's walked right back out that restaurant. I went, oh no, I'm all right.
See the filter, see the thing is, see the filter that's been used in this app. The filter that's been used in Juranovic's situation is his agent. I think his agent said to him, now don't forget, agents only get paid when they're active. There might be a retainer involved, but it'll not be much. An agent will get paid the big bucks when something happens. You know what I mean? Transfer goes through, new contracts get agreed. Maybe the guy's on just say 15 at Celtic and he knows he can get him 30, right? Let's be realistic. He can even get him 40 off some chump in England, right? He's wanting this guy out of there ASAP. He's saying to him, look, he's like, oh, I mean, look at fucking, even Twitter saying you're the best right back in the world. I mean, you had Vinicius Junior in your back pocket. All right, he scored 9 goals against you in 3 matches, but he was immense against him, right? And then he's got to start believing that. I mean, it's his job to hit him up. He's like, all right, I've had not official, but I had. And listen, this is how football works, right? Not that anybody needs me to tell them. But so, for instance, just say Celtic are looking for a right back, or Chelsea, or anybody, they'll maybe ask for the analysing data for maybe 30 players. That they'll say, I want. So they want the analysation. See all of the data and just say 30 players. One of be for Celtic. So it's up to the guys for the analysing data to look at the best analysation. We go right. Well, the best right back seems to be there for that league. But see through the media channels, that looks like Chelsea are tracking the Celtic right back. When the reality is, it's a player who's been mentioned in a pool of talent, and then the guys who do the analysation, they'll just whittle it down to who's the best of that. I mean, I heard somebody saying that Chelsea can look at 300 players at one time. You know what I mean? Through other channels, through other for the first team to like the under 9 teams, they can be looking at 300 players at any one moment. So you could have guys.
Chelsea would have signed a £100 million Mudryk, by the way, who I was looking at his stats this morning. I know stats, right? But he's only scored 9 goals in 2 seasons in the Ukrainian league, and it's been 100 million. You can almost respect Arsenal for not willing to pay what they were asking.
Well, you know something?
But he had a couple of good games against Celtic.
Well, what's going to happen? If he's got a Man U, just buy him, because if he's up against Juranovic for the 2 games, that's 5 goals straight away he's scoring, isn't it? He's got his money worth. I mean, that pace in that league might do well. I don't know how the English play.
Yeah, but I think the interesting point on Juranovic though is right. I think that, see, in terms of like Man U and all that, I think he actually genuinely believed that. Like, after, like,
well, I know there's folk in their support believe it. I mean, he's all laughing at me when I said we're not getting all this money for Juranovic. I mean, who's laughing at me now? When we're going out to £7 million, he's going to go to a club in Italy that's got a fan base of 300 people. I mean, who's laughing now?
Do you think there's Terry speculated that there's a possible?
No, there's no clause. It's been checked out.
Nah, I don't think there'd be. No, I think we'd have known that anyway. I know.
Yeah.
Our media would have found that out. The man that he was linked with big clubs, they would say to Celtic fan base, like, don't get excited by his performances here, because
there's a sell.
I don't think Celtic sign a player for the Polish league for £2.5 million. Excuse me. Then say, do you know what? We'll put a clause on it is that £7 million is, we can let you go, because even if he's got a clear structure in his footballing life, I'm going to spend 1 year here, 18 months there if possible, and I want to get guarantees on my side that if a club comes in with a good offer, that will be accepted. I don't think Celtic would find £7 million for any first team starter is peak. You know what I mean? Although I think the worst thing that could happen to some of your fan base was Celtic getting 25 million for Kieran Tierney, because every player's compared to him. Every player we get that plays 4 or 5 good starts, all of a sudden, well, if they get 25 for Kieran Tierney, then he's worth 18, and I don't think it works that way. And I think that's why as well sometimes the club are scared to set a precedent by spending £10 million on individual players quite often, because I think they feel like, it's just my mind, I think they feel like if they started doing that, and it's wrong in my opinion, if they started doing that, the Celtic fan base would be expecting every player to be 7, 8, 9, 10 million. And they wouldn't be. I think Celtic fans are happy with progression, no matter what figures put on it. I mean, and that comes with scouting the best players in each position, not by the price tag necessarily, but how we deal with the negotiations. I think there's negotiations Celtic have fallen flat in their arse, arguing over 100 grand. I mean, I told you, I had a scout saying we lost a player for £500 a week. £500 a week we lost a player for, and I'm pretty sure I know who the player is. I think it was that boy, Finn Bogason, the boy who scored the top goal scorers.
Finn Bogason,
I heard.
Blast for the past.
I heard. And
so the boy who played in was this.
He ended up going to
what's that team that has all the love hearts on their top?
Herenveen.
Samaras used to play for them.
Right, so he did that. Right, let's talk about a Greek striker then. Samaras perfect. Right. Well, I'm full of puns today. I mean, should I stay or should I show?
Yes.
You like that one? You like that one, Regan? You like that one, Regan? And absolutely pissing your pants at that one. I'm here all week, guys. I'm here all week. Right. So it looks like the Cho deal is dead in the water. So should we now turn our attention to one of the many strikers that our barber's neighbour has told us about, or do we use this money to give Gigi what he wants, what he is worth, what he believes he's worth?
David, I think I'm supposed to go it's been at your barber's, mate.
You'd ken all about it if he was at my barber's. He'd ken all about it. I'd be all over my social media.
No, but David, I think that in terms of this situation, I really don't know why we're letting a player in Giakoumakis' quality go. I really don't get it. Because I just think he offers something different. And you actually seen it last time when he scored. He took his top off and turned about crazy. I don't think the guy wants to go. I think it's Ange that's pushing him out the door. That's my opinion.
Well, his comments yesterday would argue that Regan, he says he's got no intention of pushing anyone to do it. He actually wants to make sure he's getting people in before he even thinks about letting people leave, if you believe what he said to Mr. McCoist and Hartson yesterday. I don't think he wants to go either, Regan. I do agree with you on that. I don't think that celebration was a farewell celebration. I think that's a guy that's saying, look, I love it here. I love scoring here. Just let me fucking play, and and the goals will come. But if he is going to go, is Japan really where we want to see our Greek god head to? I certainly wouldn't want. I think he's better than that. Is he English Premier League bound? Probably not. There's not any suitors there. I still believe, this whole Southampton, were looking at Daizen yesterday. I think they'd be better looking at, if they're going to go and take one of our front men, they should be looking at, if they're wanting to try and keep up and stay up this season, which I don't think they will, but if they want to stay up, they should. Giakoumakis is who they should be looking at, not Daizen. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think he's a much better player that would get you the goals. I don't think he wants to go though. I honestly think just pay me what I think I'm worth. And I think he's worth paying the money for. But it's this whole. I still believe we need another striker, though. By the way,
yeah,
I do still think we should. I totally agree with Boyce that we're wanting to be a. You look at Liverpool, you look at Man United, fair course, but right. But you look at Man United, you look at the Chelsea's. There's never just one striker. There's never two strikers. They've always got at least three.
Yeah,
we want to be playing with the big boys at the big leagues in the Champions League. We need to have more competition in that area. Whether they're going to get it, that's where are they going to get a fair crack at the whip? That's the argument here, and that's why Giakoumakis is. I don't want to leave, but if I want to play football for the better of my career, I'm going to have to leave. I really hope that we just give him what he's worth, or what he certainly feels that he's worth. Regan, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the value is for Giakoumakis, but I think if we're going to let a guy like that go for, say, £10 million, then you don't want, I think we should be getting more than that, but I don't know, for me personally, I don't want to sound controversial, but I think we should be upgrading on Kyogo, because I think Kyogo, like Mark says, the guy only had 2 touches in the game yesterday. If you're a Celtic striker, but that shouldn't be the case.
I think somebody's saying that because he doesn't get a lot of service. I mean, I don't know how you can suggest that the most forward playing football team probably in the UK is Celtic, and to say that a striker's not getting service is just ridiculous. I think.
Yeah, that's not. I don't agree with that either.
No. We're front 7. I'd call them, are constantly feeding the ball into areas where a striker can get the own end of it.
I do believe he makes runs that maybe the players, I can frustratingly watch from the television or the stands. I'll see Kyogo making a run, and this is where it gets naive on my part, where I'm like, there's a pass there, just pass it to him, as if there's no fucking buddy going to be trying to intercept in the pass. But I do get frustrated when I'll see Kyogo he does make a good run, and the ball gets played out wide. However, that's how Ange wants to play. We know that ball is going to come in to the box. Kyogo, if you're going to make that run, just make sure you're getting into the position where Ange is telling you that you need to be in. And
I think he is, David. I think he's creating space, mate. I think he's one of them make space for. So if he's running about, he's probably been told get into the areas because I want to drag defences so there's space. I think football does work like that at the higher thinking man's level, higher than fucking me anyway. But I'm just saying that I think when you see a goal being analysed by people who know football, they'll say, look at that run there, he dragged him out of position.
Yep.
And we just look at maybe the pass, the interception, the goal. We don't look at the actual wee intricate details, David. You know what I mean? As that could be the case, but I just think it could be doing a lot. Listen, you score, right? Who cares? You're paid to score, so you score, right? But I think when the goals dry up and you're touching the ball 3 times a match, I think there's a huge area for improvement there, and there's a huge area to start worrying about who's going to fill that jersey. I think we need somebody like Giakoumakis. I mean,
Like Giakoumakis, we've got one. We've got a Giakoumakis, mate. This is the thing. Eh? We didn't. I don't want to say. We need to go find a Giakoumakis. We fucking got one. He's right there. He's fucking right there. Phil, I seen the word compromise come up there by not contributor, sorry, a viewer, a passenger of the bus, Martin Kay. Surely there's a compromise there to be met if he wants to stay. Is compromise a word in Ange's vocabulary, though? That's the question.
No.
Aye.
Cheers again.
That's the thing. We were talking about this. Like, I was going through that in my head when I'm like, right, it's not as black and white as we think regarding this whole, Giakoumakis leaving and our striker, because you could say the whole, we'll go with the devil that we know rather than the devil that we don't, rather than we've got a guy there, we know what he's capable of, rather than take a chance of somebody else coming in, right? But if we do give him more money and he stays and he just continues in this cycle of getting half an hour here and there, that's not changed anything. So I'm really confused. Like, I think I would love him to stay, but he needs to play more. He needs to be involved more. I don't think we solve anything by giving him the contract that he wants, because that's obviously what this boils down to, and then just keeping him in the exact same position for the rest of the season, come on for 20 minutes to go and stuff. So what does that really do for the club? So the word compromise is the issue here. It's like, well, if we do give him a deal, what are we going to do with him? Is he going to be happy to sign that deal? What does that say about Giakoumakis? And if he does get more money and isn't then quite happy to just sit around and get 20 minutes,
that's the narrative, Phil. That's the narrative. That's the narrative. It's all about money. It's all about money for Giakoumakis. Well, if that's the case, then he will sign the contract if an improved deal comes in. So I don't believe it is a case of
as you said, the celebration yesterday didn't look like a guy that was motivated by money.
That wasn't a farewell.
Motivated by a guy that wants to play and prove a point.
But that's not a farewell. Not a farewell.
I think he's been so frustrated, but with the goals, he's been so frustrated. I see Joe Hart give him a cuddle after a match, and he gets so frustrated by himself. He's always looking at his boots. He's always like really downbeat when he misses a chance. And I seen a video yesterday. Somebody saying, "But Giakoumakis scored a penalty." I'm like, well, you talk about the two he's missed. I think the Everton penalty in a friendly match at 3 a.m. has put people off him. To be honest with you, I don't know why people were so invested in that match, but they were. When they missed that penalty, I think his time was up in the eyes of some of Celtic fans. You know what I mean? And
no.
Sorry, no. No, I'm knackered, mate. I'm not sleeping a week. Fucking no, but no, fucking no, man. I think this is where Phil's right. Well, doesn't mean me to tell me he's right, but I think if he wants to stay and Celtic want him to stay, there is a middle ground there. But he's right and all, because if there's not going to be any change in his game time and his situation at Celtic, we don't improve. He stays unhappy, so nobody wins there. So I think there's going to be like a situation where we develop the guy into the game more. And unless that happens, which I don't see happening, then there's no point giving the contract. I think he's a fantastic striker. I think if he plays 40 games for Celtic, injury free, I think he scores 30-35 goals. I genuinely believe that. I think he's no scored against Rangers yet, but he will if he was given a chance. He scored the Champions League, scored last minute winners. I mean, don't forget, some of the goals he's scored have been right pivotal goals, man. I mean, look at even this season at St Johnstone, people forget. If we'd dropped points that day, Rangers could have went tap that day. Rangers would have went tap that day, right? His goal denied after happening, and then Rangers dropped points. So that's how easy a season can flip, how a narrative can flip. You know what I mean? Last season, him and Abada, they both done it 2 weeks running. I was at a game, so were you, Phil, and we had Rangers had dropped points that day, and I was walking up the Celtic way, like you were too, Phil, when you just heard everybody in the Cardiel bar cheer. It was like a moment you just felt something was going to happen. You guys popped up with 2 goals that swung our season. The game against Rangers, the final game, was a confirmation in my head and Angie's head and the Celtic fans' head that we could win the league. But the season was swung in our favour, I think, momentum-wise, that day when Giakoumakis scored that last-minute winner at Dundee. and then Abada scoring the last minute win against Dundee United. That totally. Ralph's was a goal that saved the season. Because if we went 9 points behind, whatever it is, in New Year's Eve or whatever it's going to be, we don't come back for that, David. You know what I mean? We don't come back for that. We don't. And that's my opinion on it.
No worries. Regan, as I said earlier, when I was watching the game, I was in a situation where I couldn't really concentrate on the game too much. The television was muted. However, what I did manage to kind of gather from even a muted television was the crowd certainly made Giakoumakis know their opinion on the matter. I think they made it pretty clear that they want him to stay. When you were at the game, is that am I off the mark there? Am I right? Did the crowd pretty much tell him we want you to stay, or was it a farewell from the fans? I felt personally that's a crowd there that are telling him we want you. We didn't want you to leave. Would you agree with that?
No, David, you're bang on there. I mean, I think Celtic fans are well clear in their opinion. I just think it's Ange Postecoglou that has to change his opinion, because I think Ange is the one that sees Giorgos as the main striker and Giakoumakis as the backup. So I think the big problem that Giakoumakis has got, as Phil says, if he signs this new contract, then I think that Giakoumakis will still be in the same situation where it'll only be 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And I do like what Terry and Russell have been saying for a few weeks, where Celtic plays two up top as well.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting take of what they said, Phil. Like, in 5 years' time, when you're doing Bustalgia, if you're no hosting,
oh my God,
if you're no hosting Super Sunday on Sky Sports News at this point, we'll be talking about how many games did they play together. That was an interesting comment there. I get Mike. Is it Michael that came up there? I get Michael's point. I've even said it myself. Giakoumakis was relatively average up until that season he had in Holland. I disagree that nobody was after him. I do believe we were up against a couple of people that were after him. However, I would say consistent. I would say right now he has been pretty consistent. If I'm being honest, when you look at, I know we don't like to use the stats too much, but this stat has been used in an argument against me a few times, so I'm going to use it this time. The goals, the goals per game ratio for Giakoumakis is very, very high ever since he walked in the Celtic. I think it still would, and there's no evidence to suggest that if he didn't get a run in the game that they wouldn't continue. So I think it's a hard one to agree with. Listen, Giakoumakis is at that age now where it's, and I've talked about age earlier, Mark, but how old is he? 28, 29? Has he got many suitors down south? Maybe not, because now we've seen it. People want to spend money on young players, so they can. Yeah, I don't think Giakoumakis is in that age group now where it's almost an unfashionable type of player to go for. He's not one I want to see leave. Is where I'm getting at, and I would, consistency. I think that there's still plenty of room for a consistent run of form for Giakoumakis. But we've been on for a little while. We've got the return ticket to move on.
The return ticket, of course. Yes.
Now there's been a lot of shows this past week. Some people had to pick up the slack because Mark decided to take a holiday. But
let the team do it.
I've decided to go for a little bit of exciting promotional work that was done last night by Mr. Boyce himself. And I'm not going to divulge into this any further, but obviously I am ITL. I know exactly what is being discussed here. I am playing a bit of a part in this, but that will become more apparent as the season goes on. If we win the league title, when we win the league title. But this is what Mr. Russell Boyce had to say last night, as he got a little bit giddy and excited about a possible surprise guest that's going to be joining us on the bus, hopefully very soon. This is what Mr. Boyce had to say.
The bus is madness. The bus is...
Oh, sorry, let me start that again. I've technical difficulties here. Come on, man.
Got to be taking gremlins when you're on, David. That's mandatory, mate.
I know. Sorry, lads. Here we go.
going to say too much. Just you fucking wait.
Oh, you've summed up your sleeve. You've summed up your sleeve.
There is something up the bus's sleeve. Just let me tell the viewers this. There's 200 of you watching live right now.
Is it better than Martin?
I have a like by miles. I have a promise of a promise I'm going to make to you all right now. If we win the league, we have been promised the promise of the promise that the show after the title win, we are joined by someone you won't be able to comprehend is on the bus.
Is McGrandles coming on again?
Delivered. Bigger than McGrandles. Just you wait.
You can't be bigger than McGrandles.
It's my dad. My dad's coming on. He's got to come on. He's got to slaughter the lotties.
By the way, I'd be terrified if he came on.
Oh, mate. That's why I'm the most positive guy in that conversation between me and him. Put it that way. I'm the one that's bigging him up there. Oh,
I'm not going to go into any further just now because it's I've handed those keys to Russell and we won't feed that when we are ready. There'll be a lot of names.
Says Neil Lennon,
so basically,
Bobby Madden.
What happened was, as you all know, what I do for a living. Sometimes just the most random of situations happen, and a certain person came in to the shop, and I just asked him what he did for a living, and he told me, and I just, listen, Shy Bairn's getting his sweeties, right? So I asked the question, and he said he would get back to me. When he came back in, he said, "You win the league, I'll make it happen." And listen,
is it Kevin Spacey?
So exciting times for the bus.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm going to say no more. I'll leave that to Russell.
Listen, that's the thing. Like, just quickly, we've not got so. There's a lot of pods out there that I'm backed by media companies, use it for advertising space, etc. So we've not got the pull to say to get these kind of people on and all the rest of it. I mean, I've had a few lined up, and they've no answered the final email and all the rest of it. So we don't advertise it as such. But so we get excited when people that are of high standard are coming on to the show, and it just promotes the show. It gives us a wee buzz because we're all Celtic fans. That's all we want to do is talk Celtic. So I don't blame Boise for putting it out there and letting folk get a bit excited about it.
We're all very excited.
I know, and all I'm going to say is he was cracking in the Terminator. Wink, wink. What David?
Anyway, we will be back. So anyway, Sunday Blether. Let's wrap it up. We've been on for an hour and 13 minutes.
That's quite moderate these days on the bus.
Aye, well, listen, we're not all marathon runners here. I'm more of a sprinter.
3-hour shows are not going to be the norm. Trust me, they're not.
No, fucking right, they're not.
You'll be sick of the sight of us. But yeah, a lot of interesting guesses in the chat there.
Keep the guesses coming. Just keep them coming. It's getting exciting. Well, like I said, I'll get drip feeded as we get further and further down the rest of the calendar. But thank you again, everyone, for joining us on this. It's an alright Sunday today. So, listen, we just enjoyed doing this, and we enjoy the interaction, and this is why we're doing it. We enjoy talking about the club that we're loving, we support, and we're just glad that you guys are with us. So once again, thank you, Regan, for joining me. Phil, as always, the man behind the keys, the keyboard warrior of the day, and the judge. In fact, before we go, Judge, you got anything for us today? You got anything for us before I go?
Have I got anything for you?
Sun cream. Let's talk about sun cream.
Sun cream. Don't buy it, mate. Sun cream. Do not buy sun cream for a looky man. No.
Overrated.
Oh, mate. Honestly, Matt, she's always saying to me, "I'll get cream on." I'm like, "Nah, I'm fine." And then before you know it, I'm fucking red. I mean, I'm very much. I go against the grain, mate, and I'm like, "Fuck you! I'm not wearing any protective cream that will save my life potentially. I'll die my way." You know what I mean?
Always going two-footed, my man. Anyway, on that note, thanks again. We'll see you next Sunday.
Here's Chris Sutton to play us out, guys.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you've all that stuff at the start. You know, they won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.